Water is a crucial part in our lives and in our cities. Water management in a city consists of a complex system that takes care of cleaning sewage and channeling rainwater. A system we are taking for granted most of the time. But actually, it's under a lot of pressure. Our cities are growing, which means more people are using the water supply. And with the changing climate, our weather conditions are getting more and more extreme. One way to face this is to design our sewer systems differently. This is Grangetown, a neighbourhood in Cardiff, capital of Wales. This is Mr. Titherington. He's a drainage engineer for the City of Cardiff Council. And this is a story of how our sewer systems could look like. Currently, the dirty water from houses and relatively clean rainwater enter the same pipes.
Because as cities get larger, more flow enters the system, and as climate change occurs, there is more intensity of rainfall. So many of the sewer systems in Western Europe and many of the cities are struggling to cope with the amount of flow they're dealing with. What we're doing is saying that is rainwater. That doesn't need to be treated as sewage. That can be treated as natural running water. Let's intercept it. Let's use grass and gravity to do the work that several miles of sewer systems, pumping stations and treatment works currently do.
In the case of Grangetown, the water has to get pumped 8 miles until it reaches the sewage works. Such systems make this process easier because they channel rain through gardens. Less water in the sewers means less energy is required for pumping and cleaning.
As a local authority, what we're trying to do is to say, look, looking at the city as a whole, what can we do as a local authority to improve our environmental footprints, to use less energy as a capital city, to be more environmentally self-conscious about what we're doing, everything we do.
The first scheme who is aiming to do that in Cardiff is called Greener Grangetown and will be built in 2016. It is well known that the authorities have a duty to make sure new developments are provided with the necessary infrastructure. Their need to react to climate change, on the other hand, seems debatable to many people. Mr. Lockwood has lived in Grangetown for 70 years. He follows the progress of the greening scheme closely.
I can't see the likes of it. For the expense to do it in the beginning, just to save this minimal amount of water, in that respect, all right, if you put the gardens there, they're going to look nice, but people won't enjoy having gardens if they haven't got nowhere to park the car.
Will climate change affect Wales, you think?
I don't think so. I'm too old to worry about it. I might worry about it for my grandchildren. They don't worry about climate change. How they're worrying about, are they going to have a job when they get older? Are they going to be in work? Are they being able to live in? And things like that. I don't know whether climate change actually affects that.
What impact climate change has in Wales is monitored by the organisation Natural Resources Wales.
We expect to see a lot more rain in winter, and more of that rain falling is in what we would call intense storms. I'm sure people have an image in their mind what an intense storm is like. If we don't adapt now, we will suffer. Our quality of life will suffer, and in some cases we will suffer catastrophic issues. People will lose their homes, they'll lose their property. They may lose their loved ones in the event of severe floods, severe fires. You talked at the beginning about, well, what does climate change mean for our cities? A lot of it is to do with management of temperature and management of water. Because at the moment, when it rains, particularly when it rains really hard, the rain lashes down, our sewers are overloaded, and we can expect more of that in the future. If we can get the city to act more like a sponge, then we can slow and gradually slow down that rate of water flow and avoid a lot of the problems I've outlined.
To ensure that such measures are taken, the government has established various environmental acts.
There are adaptation measures and there are mitigation measures. But the problem between those measures is that they completely address different kinds of problems, climatic problems. Mitigation measures, they refer to reducing the emissions, the carbon emissions, which are being contributed into the atmosphere. And these have global effects. Adaptation measures refer to the building infrastructure locally, which can actually help communities cope.
The outcome of adaptation programs is difficult to predict. However, they can have positive impacts on many levels. Improvements that can be felt as soon as they are put in place. Mr. Evans was part of the planning team for the Greener Grangetown scheme.
The community will benefit hopefully in a number of different ways, both environmentally and socially and hopefully economically as well. Socially, we're hoping that the area will create more green space for people to enjoy in terms of recreation, leisure, new cycle network facilities in the area as well. So we're hoping to create about 1,600 square metres of new additional green space in the area. And for residential urban areas such as Grangetown, it is blessed with the River Taff running through it, but we're hoping to expand that green space for people to enjoy it. Health-wise, we're hoping that the creation of 120 new trees in the area will improve air quality. We're hoping to work a lot more closely with the schools so the children can also enjoy possibly tree planting or engaging with their environment a lot more.
The World Water Council has established norms to define what good water management looks like, that different organizations follow the same goal, for instance. Or that the public is informed and involved when programs are implemented. Nevertheless, this way of engineering includes doing things differently than in the past. In order to succeed, everyone involved has to do their part.
To deal with climate change in an appropriate fashion requires a lot of joined-up solutions. And at the moment, different organisations are focused on particular things with particular responsibilities, and they're very good at putting sort of fences around what they're responsible for and what they're not responsible for. But dealing with climate change appropriately involves a lot of partnership working and breaking down those barriers, and that's where the challenges are.
It depends how the message is conveyed to the communities. Climate change is a very wide term, so we can't really say and expect that once we tell the communities that whatever we are doing is for the benefit of them, it is to avoid climate change.
Do you have the impression that if people were more concerned about climate change, programs like this would happen more and quicker and more and easier?
I think, firstly, this is not just about the public. This is about organisations across the UK, Europe and beyond working collaboratively to bring about projects such as this on a local level. But generally, I think that anything that organisations do and the public look to do should be with climate change in mind.